Hello everybody, welcome back to Ball Street. It's the day after, the night before. Rory from CFC Fan TV and Sam from United People's TV join me. We did this after the last two rounds. We were jubilant. It's a lot more downbeat this time. England are out of the World Cup at the semi-final stage, and it just feels like it's something we need to talk it out. I think we need to talk about it.
Only this is the last time we have to talk about it, right?
There is a lot to say, and it's been interesting on Twitter. Some people going, "Look, I told you we had weaknesses, and those weaknesses supposedly being found out." I know Rory is staying like a stay calm. Yeah. But what we want to do is we want to talk about it. We want to hear what you guys think of as well. So get in the comments, ask your questions. We'll be answering those questions and giving our thoughts on it. But sort of top line thoughts on it initially, Sam.
What, immediate reaction? From a selfish point of view, the thing I'm most upset about is the 24 hours that I could have had being in London when England were in a World Cup final and experiencing that. That would have been a lifetime memory that's been taken away. And I think that was a game that England could have and probably should have won. I think the game hinged on that Harry Kane miss. If it was 2-0 there after 32 minutes and we went in 2-0 at half time, you think that defence is good enough to hold us for that. Even if we conceded one, I'd still be confident that Stones, Maguire and Trippier would hold out and not concede two, but it wasn't to be. And then in the second half, Croatia turned it up a gear at the same time that we turned it down. We lost our composure. We didn't have the ball, and when they had the ball, they were playing so much more direct. That's when Modric came in and obviously exposed the weaknesses that we were all consciously aware of, but we weren't talking about because England were in the semi-final. I'm happy about that. It's not going to be a perfect team. It was the youngest team at the World Cup. It defied expectations. So you can't complain about a team that surpassed your expectations because they haven't further surpassed them by getting to the World Cup final. It kind of makes no sense in that regard.
And your top line thoughts initially before we dive into this game?
Well, I think the tagline that's been suggested and it's been floating around and it's been up in the sky in the shape of RAF things and it's coming home. And I think that tagline has actually been proved true. It did come home. It depends on your definition of it. For me, the definition of it isn't a trophy. It's football. And football came home. All of us have so much faith in this England side. It's invigorated this country. We're full of pride and admiration for a manager, something that we haven't probably experienced in our lifetime, certainly since Euro 96. There's so many good things to have come from this. I think football did come home. And all you've got to do is kind of look around at the reaction, and the fact that we're all so full of pride tells a huge story. Okay, the trophy didn't come, but it's just what your definition of it's coming home is. What's it?
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to have to play devil's advocate in this video a lot, and we're going to get into the match stats and some things that have been labelled to the England team. The fact that maybe Southgate's tactically inept. That's what we heard in the office earlier today. That England fans were being arrogant. We've seen that quite a lot with the comments. Luka Modric and Lovren speaking out about the English pundits. And did we really achieve anything when we've had the run to the semi-final that we've had? But before that, let's look at a couple of clips from the game yesterday. This is from Flatiron Square. We sent a slow-mo camera down there, and it just shows the highs and the lows of football, the goal and then full time, and how those same England fans felt amazing, and then it all got taken away from them. Check this out. There you have it, football in 30 seconds. The ecstasy with that first goal.
At least we had the explosion, right?
We got ourselves a lovely little explosion there, Sam. It was epic.
What a free kick it was as well.
Let's dive into this game then. Let's look at the stats. Croatia, 55% possession, 22 shots to England's 11, 7 on target, only 2 shots on target for England, 8 corners to 4. And fouls, 23, Croatia gave away. It's just a lot, isn't it?
A lot.
To 14. But the one that was kind of glaring for me there was, I mean, it's the possession and the shots. I think, because what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to kind of step away from being, obviously, stupidly biased and look at the game on its own. And those two say a lot, really, about the game, because although we really, really did dominate that first half, maybe first 50, 60 minutes, for the rest of it, it shows that, one, they did have a little bit more possession. I don't think that's too big a deal, but 22 shots to our 11, I think that highlights the fear that we had throughout the tournament that, okay, yeah, we're great at set pieces, but otherwise, we were struggling a little bit.
Yeah, from open play, we all knew going into the tournament that we didn't have that Luka Modric type player, that creative link between midfield and attack who can. We all hoped it would be Dele Alli, but he didn't have the best of tournaments. And Modric just in that second half, you knew it was a youthful side, and you knew you didn't have that player who had the experience to slow the game down. And at that point, all England needed was possession. We didn't need to go and do anything crazy. We just needed to try and stop their game by having the ball. And we didn't have anybody. Maybe Jack Wilshere could have been that player had he gone, and that's why Gareth Southgate came into some criticism going into the tournament.
If that is the player that we're looking for, though, we did have that option. Like, Eric Dyer is a player who is
He's
incredible
not the
at
answer.
slowing a game down. No, I'm not suggesting he is. I don't necessarily think that slowing the game down would have been the best move. But if that is what we needed to do, we did have that character in our
it's more the fact that you looked at, and I think Jordan Pickford must have had more touches than most of our players, because every time Maguire and Stones had the ball,
49 passes.
Because Croatia were pressing so high, we turned back and went to Pickford, where normally if you've got a player like Modric, you go, no, give me the ball. I'll take it further up the pitch.
Do you know, I think we can do this, and when we're sort of poring over a corpse, it becomes very easy to pick fault and suggest other things and be a genius after the fact. But I actually have a lot of admiration for the way we went into that game. I think that going into it, you're playing against the best midfielder in the tournament. You're playing against Modric and Rakitic. You know how good they are. Rakitic has played something like 60 games this year. He's an incredible athlete as well as an incredible football player. So it's going to be very difficult. And in that scenario, you have an option. You either try and look at the opposition and counter that. So you go, okay, you're brilliant there. We're gonna adapt our game to suit your style, or you go, not interested.
Yeah.
This is us. You adapt because we're brilliant, and when it doesn't work, you can look foolish. But it's so many people on Twitter and social media is giving so many morons a platform. But after the fact, you can always look clever. But if that had worked, if Kane squares that, Sterling knots it in, we go 2-0 up, and suddenly they have to adapt their game plan completely, and it's a very different story.
One thing I would say is that we sat in this studio and we looked at the squad when it was announced, and we were like, why is Wilshere not on the plane? Why is John Joe Shelby on the plane? And I think in football, you need as many answers to questions as possible. And that comes in set pieces, being able to have the physicality. Can you have speed? Have you got someone who's clinical up front? Have you got answers? And I felt like we went for it, and it was great, and there was the gusto, and it was everything I wanted and called for. I really thought we were going to win this game. I said, look, we're going to win this 3-0 because I think we're going to run this lot into the ground. But when you don't take your chances, like you said,
you can't not take your chances when you create them that clearly.
Yeah.
Sterling's got an open goal.
But
But Kane should have finished anyway.
Absolutely.
I don't blame him for shooting.
Yeah.
I've looked back at it and I'm thinking, Christ, he should have squared. But Kane's on 6.
But my point is
expect
that
him to shoot in that situation.
games change like that. And as much as we were dominant, it doesn't matter when it's 1-0. And as soon as it becomes 1-1, we needed to show the grit that Croatia showed and have another guy that could have been the answer. For me, I know Wilshere wasn't there and Shelby wasn't there. I felt like Ruben Loftus-Cheek might have been that guy. I think Southgate got it wrong in not putting him on, because you needed someone to go, right, this isn't working, guys. We need to grab hold of the game, like Modric can do, like Pogba can do for France, and go, just give it to me and I'll calm
the other way that I thought he could have approached it, and also when you look at the way Luka Modric controlled that game, let's also just acknowledge for 1 second here that Luka Modric is probably the best footballer in the world. So there's no shame in what happened.
A lot of saying it should be Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, let's just appreciate that it's taken the best fucking player in the world to have the game of his life against us to knock us out. So let's, of course, England let themselves down. We didn't do what we could have done, but it took Luka Modric having a game like that to make it happen for them.
But he's had a tournament like that.
Absolutely.
You knew
Absolutely.
Like that.
We saw, didn't we? He set the tone in that goal he scored against Argentina, and you just think that he's an incredible talent. But when he plays like that, what you can do, and I think perhaps Southgate could have considered. I was in favour of the way he lined up, by the way. I like the fact that we played our game. Yeah. But what you can do, I remember when Steven Gerrard was completely unplayable. Chelsea played Liverpool in a semi-final of the European Cup, and we stuck Michael Essien on him, and we kind of went, this is 10 on 10. This is 10 on 10. Essien's a wonderful football player for us, but we will sacrifice him in order to nullify Gerrard, and let's see how everyone else does. There is a case when you're playing a team. It'll be very interesting to see what Kante does in the final, because I think Kante will be as close as I am to Sam now to Modric for that entire game.
You just follow him.
And they'll play 10 on 10, and they'll let Mbappe show love on.
Well, who would you say Henderson should have done that job?
I think Henderson could have done it.
You would have had to have different players.
You would have had to switch. You would have needed three in midfield, like three actual central midfielders rather than Ali and Lingard, who are more attacking.
Yeah, you'd drop somebody.
Yeah,
guys, so get your comments in right now on Southgate. Let me know your thoughts on Southgate. In the meantime, I'm going to ask a question that Adam Got Talent asked us on Twitter. If you want to get to the front of queue when we're doing it live, then go on Twitter, follow Ball Street, because we'll always post that we're doing it live, and you can answer questions. And like Adam, you can get them answered.
Good job, Adam.
Essentially, he was saying, was it right taking off Henderson? Was that a mistake? What do you think to that?
No, but I think you might be correct in maybe Loftus-Cheek instead of Dyer could have offered. Dyer's a midfielder you bring on to kill a game out. At that point in the game, we needed to bring something up, and I don't think Eric Dyer was ever going to be the man to do that and add a real impetus going forward. Rashford was a great sub. You saw he immediately changed it, just like it did in Euro 2016 when he came off the bench. But there wasn't enough players around him because they were all fucked by that point. They were knackered. Kieran Trippier just ran himself into the ground. Yeah. And one thing's got to be said as well about Croatia's fitness, because they played 3 extra times in 3 knockout games and they turned it up and they were running us everywhere. Yeah. And I couldn't get my head around that. I was like, they'll definitely tire. That's where we can get it, but that's where they improve.
I think it was the timing of their like momentum as well. It was. I mean, I'm saying this with full admiration. I think England probably did run more. You know, on the stat, England ran more, but it was the last 15 minutes or whatever where they were just outrageously good. And there was a moment when Luka Modric, for the first time in his career, mistimed a pass. He sort of went to pass, decided against it, but made contact with the ball and gave it away. Very unexplained, very unexpected. I think Rashford got it, made a big burst away. Luka Modric has sort of chased him, caught him and slide tackled with 2 minutes to go. You're like, how? How has he done that?
It's incredible. I think I got that totally wrong with Croatia. I was like, they're tired. They have to be tired.
I got that completely wrong.
And it shows the kind of grit that they have. That I think sometimes when you've got hard game after hard game after hard game, the good thing about that is that you're battle hardened.
Yeah,
you know the effort that you're going to have to give away.
It's why Manchester United won a treble in '99. Every game's a cup final, and you just go into it like with that mentality. Yeah.
Let's hear what you guys have to say. Transfer Zone says shouldn't have taken Hendo off. Johnny Walker saying Croatia's midfield is probably the best in the world. It's interesting.
Well, it's certainly the World Cup.
Certainly the best in the World Cup, yeah.
Chris Long, Southgate should have changed things quicker in that game. Where are we? Lally Patu, more on Henderson, had a great World Cup. Love Southgate to bits, says Cal Wilson, but his substitutions were curious. Josh Parsons saying Southgate deserves to stay long term.
Sure.
And last
Absolutely.
one, Hemant Bubner. Southgate was excellent this tournament, deserves a lot of praise, but some constructive criticism will help him improve the next big match.
What, from us?
I think he was a bit slow to react.
Okay.
So I think that is a big one that a lot of people are saying, like, do these changes earlier.
I think when you bring on Eric Dyer, it's always a very uninspiring substitution. So you bring on Eric Dyer. If you then don't win that game, people go, "What's he bringing a Dyer on for?"
Yeah,
but
I think
bringing a Dyer on is actually quite a shrewd move, and you know, if it all goes differently, England win that game. But he brought Dyer on against Sweden.
Brought Dyer on against Colombia.
Sweden, and nobody at that point was going, "What's he bringing him on for?"
It's
result. It's still a good substitution.
I would disagree with that. I think he got that wrong. I think he got it wrong, but I actually think he might have done it because Henderson might have had a tight hamstring. There was a lot of talk about.
Well, Henderson had an issue going into the game, so the fact that he played as well as he did.
Yeah, because I think actually you would have been better off moving it around so that you bring on Delph alongside him or Loftus-Cheek alongside him.
And the other thing is, James, as well, can you imagine the conversation we'd be having here in the comment section of this video if you bring on somebody slightly less experienced, maybe Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who has a wonderful future ahead of him, but, I mean, let's have it right, he's played, half a good season with Crystal Palace. If he comes on and maybe gets caught out of position by a very wily Luka Modric because he's gone bombing on and hasn't remembered his defensive duties, why on earth do you bring on a kid? Why do you put him in that situation? You can't win. And I think giving Southgate grief and constructive criticism, England have dropped out. But I don't actually think there's too much to criticise. We've got to a semi-final.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll get to that as well, because that's something I want to talk about. Like, did we really achieve anything with the run that we'd had? But Modric and Lovren were kind of rubbing it in yesterday. They were saying English pundits were arrogant and saying that they read everything that was said about them being tired and not being able to keep going, and that they underestimated the Croatian side. Modric was saying, were England fans getting a bit carried away?
Look, I think if you're not in England and you're living out and you're living either Spain, Uruguay, and you're looking at how the English fans are behaving, you think, Christ, they're arrogant. But if you're English, you know that you're just overwhelmingly excited about what you're seeing, because you're so used to England being absolutely crap at these tournaments. So you're like, this is not happening. I haven't seen this. This is incredible. And we're just getting swept up in the emotion. That's why we were so excited. And it might have come across as arrogant to non-English fans, but it's not the way that
I would contest that it's arrogant. I would contest that it's born out of arrogance. I think that it's born out of a love of football and an enthusiasm for the biggest competition in the world.
Yeah.
It's just a love of the competition. Of course we want to win it, but Peru, who were never going to win it, Peru took 50,000 fans to that. No, they're not doing that out of arrogance. Yeah. They haven't all gone there expecting to win the World Cup, saying that they're the best team in the world. They've only done what we've done. I don't understand why it's arrogance. Modric and Lovren, I've got no issue with that. I've got no issue with a player going out.
Because they've used that as fuel, haven't they?
Yeah,
they've gone. It's used. You've seen it a million times. Manager comes in and you've got a few newspaper clippings. You go, they're saying this. What do you think, lads? We've got the legs.
Absolutely. I've got no issue with Modric. I think Lovren made actually quite a valid point. He said, I've got to a World Cup final and a Champions League final in the same season, and you'll call me a mug. Who's the mug? And he's right.
That's true. I would say we were totally arrogant. But the reason I wanted to talk about that was because, of course you are. You're a football fan. That's your team. You're still in the competition. Be arrogant. It's not. I mean, you're seeing arrogance as a bad thing.
I just don't necessarily think it's arrogance. I think it's pride. I think it's optimism. I just don't think the word arrogance has such negative connotation. As such it's such a negative word, arrogance, and I just don't think my profile picture on Twitter and all that is me with across St George, and I've got 3 lions in my name, and that's not arrogant. There's nothing. That's not arrogance. It's just pride. I am, but not for those reasons.
But I just think, what, are you really going to go, oh no, England won't win?
And also,
that's not life.
Also, mate, the other thing is, with people like us, I was getting some grief about it on Twitter. People like us, we're fans. We're not pundits. If I was anchoring the BBC News, and I started going, you go, mate, that's not the place for it. Of course I'm tribal.
If not there, you're right. If not the last few weeks, then when? When are we going to do it?
I do videos about Chelsea, right, on a Chelsea channel, and I'll get some Arsenal fans who come on and go, so biased. Yes, I'm biased. Yes. Obviously I'm biased. I'm an England fan, I'm a Chelsea, of course.
That's class. Right, well maybe the other side of it is then, did we underestimate this Croatian side?
Yeah, I definitely did. I did, yeah. Personally speaking, I was so confident. Do you know what happened with me? I saw their lineup in the previous game. I was watching a bit of their game, and I saw Vedran Luka playing.
That's it, everyone in the chalk.
I saw Craig upstairs as well. And I saw Dejan Lovren. And I thought, hang on a minute, Lovren, I've got a lot of mates who are Scousers, Liverpool fans who all think he's a mug. And I know that Luka's about 100 and was terrible when he was young.
He was slow when he was about
he was a terrible footballer when he was at Man City, which is a decade ago.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, Harry Kane, Dele Alli, Raheem Sterling, we're going to kill them. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it's arrogance to say that when you're previewing a game, when you're looking into a game, you're looking at factors. And one factor that you can't see, but it equates to something, is the amount of minutes that they've played. They've played extra time twice. We had a simple game against Sweden. Turns out they've got incredible grit and experience and stamina, and they proved us wrong. And I think I'm fine to say that. We got it wrong. To not say that before, I think that's a fair point.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. It's a fair point.
There's different ways of approaching a football game as a fan. Sometimes you'd be like, ooh, pessimistic, you're going to sit back. That's what you're talking about, the pessimist and the optimist. Yeah. You had to be optimistic about this England team because it's just youthful, exciting. What they were doing, we haven't seen in a tournament for 20 odd years. of course we're going to think that we're going to steamroll you, and it's because we avoided the other side of the draw and we weren't playing France and Brazil and Uruguay. And
it's more fun, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's more fun.
Totally. Let's see what you guys think. Were we being arrogant as England fans? Seamus Hart says, hardly arrogance at Euro 2012. Irish fans thought we could beat Croatia, draw with Italy and get out of the group. That's what fans do.
Yeah, he's
Ian Clark disagrees.
Shame.
Lads, it's arrogance to be talking about the final and dismissing Croatia. Interesting.
Did we?
I don't know if you dismissed it. I think you're mad if you're when you've got that just over the hill to not go.
You're always going to have one eye on it.
You're not excited about semi-final. You're excited about winning a semi-final and playing in a final.
Yeah, but I don't think that we dismissed Croatia. I mean, we were talking about what would come after Croatia, but we were very aware that we were playing Croatia yesterday. The country came to a standstill.
I was just so confident in that England team that we would do it. And then we went 1-0 up after 4 minutes. I was like, oh yes,
Kieran Trippier.
Everything is coming up Millhouse.
That's another thing about, is this World Cup a success for England? It absolutely is, because tribal allegiances have just gone out the window. Yeah. So that's nice, isn't it?
That's amazing. That's why I love England. That's why I love watching England.
I love them as well. Do you know? I love them. I love Kieran Trippier. I love Harry Kane. I celebrated that Dele Alli header like a lunatic on Saturday, and that is an unbelievable statement, because England as a club, as a country, has always been tarnished with club allegiances. You know, up and down the country, people will not go to certain games. I know, when a game was played at the Stadium Light, Newcastle fans wouldn't go. It was all that sort of tribal stuff. You had England, when England played a tournament in Holland in 2000, you had Portsmouth and Southampton fans bashing each other up on a ferry, that the ferry had to be turned back. All that is out the window. Yeah. And it's brilliant.
It is.
I love Kieran Trippier.
That's mad.
It's weird.
It's weird to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Keep getting your comments in, guys. Keep getting your questions in. We're going to be going to them very, very soon. The last thing I've got down here, well, I've got two. Did we really achieve anything? And how far away is this squad from winning the World Cup? Let's know your questions.
4 years.
Though, as
Bang
well.
on 4 years.
4 years away, are we? So first one, did we really achieve anything here?
Is that really a question?
Yeah. Well, look, I think on the pitch I'm talking about now. We played.
We achieved
because
loads, mate.
The pessimists are going to go.
You can't even.
But wait, let me finish and then you can say.
Right, really?
The pessimists are going to go. We beat a awful Panama side. We struggled to beat a poor Tunisia side. Got done by Belgium, but that's a void game to a point. And then we weren't able to beat Colombia. We beat a poor Sweden side. This is just what pessimists will say.
Right, okay.
We had the easiest run of 2 lifetimes. Let's be honest. Like my dad was around during World Cup '66. We didn't have a run as easy as
Although,
this.
do you know what, James? I can answer your question with a question.
Okay.
Do you have when the Germany team that won the World Cup, or got to the World Cup final, in 2002? You respect that team. It was an incredible achievement. They got to a World Cup final. Have you seen them run? The hardest team they played on that run was the USA. Really?
Yeah.
Like they played Saudi Arabia, they put 8 past them. They played the hardest game in the group was Republic of Ireland. They drew 1-1. Robbie Keane scored in the last minute. And on the way to the game, they played the USA. On the way to the final, they played the USA. That's the way the World Cup goes. Don't.
Same thing
I don't know who these people think they are.
I
saw Dan Walker say something. He's like, talking about Panama, talking about Tunisia. So isn't it a shame that France, Italy, and the Dutch aren't there? I was like, what? Should we do away with qualifying? Because you think that these countries have a more established... Everybody at that World Cup is there for a reason, and the reason is because they've qualified. Us sitting around going, we had it a bit easy, we played the Swedes in the quarters. That's arrogant. Not respecting them for getting there.
I agree. No one cares. It doesn't. I think there's aspects of look, are we as good as a France, a Belgium, are those guys? That is a different question. But have we achieved something here? What would you have? The question I would go back to your question.
I like it.
Would you? Yeah, this is mad, isn't it? What would you have taken before we started?
Getting out of the group.
Right. What would you have taken before we started?
I would have taken quarters.
So have we achieved something? We've got to.
James, in the last World Cup, England were out before they kicked a ball in their 3rd game. We didn't have to bother playing a 3rd game. We played 2 games. We were on a plane home.
That was
awful. 2 games and on a plane home. All of a sudden, we're still in it with 3 days of the tournament left.
No, right. The tournament has ended. England have been knocked out of the tournament. Yet I'm still filled with optimism. I know who the manager is going to be at the next tournament. I believe in England as a country again in terms of the football I'm seeing.
Look at these players that we've got.
We played a system. We stuck to the system. I'm so bored of seeing just 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-2 and nothing working. It's like Gareth Southgate had his system. And it really worked. And we were fucking great at set pieces. Where did that come from?
And mate, these defenders, like John Stones, in years to come, is going to be like people will be talking about John Stones the way that people a bit older than me talk about Franz Beckenbauer. Like
That's a statement.
we have,
Are you sure?
mate, we have Harry Maguire is the new Paolo Maldini. Like we have some incredible football players.
I needed that, Ron.
We genuinely do though. We genuinely do. Like
Yeah, some stars have been born in that World
Raheem
Cup.
Sterling is so young. He's so young.
They're all
That's
so
his
young.
second tournament. You know, he was in France. He's here. By the time it comes around to another World Cup, Raheem Sterling is going to still be really young, but so experienced. There is so much to go with his team.
Yeah.
Like Harry Kane is going to break Gary Lineker's England record. Like that's going to happen. This team has so much to give still. It's brand new. And like the future is so bright.
Okay. The final thing I would say, how patronising it is to say, look, this Sweden team knocked out Germany. Colombia's topped their group. Croatia topped their
There's
group.
your arrogance. The person who tries to dismiss England by going, you only beat mugs. There's your arrogant Burke.
There's your arrogant Burke, indeed. Right, let's hear what you
I do
guys
love you
think.
sometimes, really.
So, all sorts of stuff going on here. Let's get into it. Perisic was their best player. Walker weak again for England. Paul Lucas, that Trippier goal was fantastic.
I feel sorry for Walker though. He did make a mistake.
Oh, Stones made a mistake.
I think Stones made a big mistake.
Stones, but the trouble with Walker is he got caught trying to head a ball where you have to clear it out, and you know he's made a few mistakes, but he's also playing out of position to accommodate Kieran Trippier simply because they're both excellent right backs, but Walker is a better centre back than Kieran Trippier would be, so you have to accommodate. He's playing out of position. He did an incredible job.
Mr. Anonymous, Kane has been terrible since the group stages. Yes, he scored penalties, but yesterday he missed clear chances. So, for example, when he should have squared it to Sterling, he was anonymous. He then goes on to say, plus Southgate's tactics were exposed once again. Only decent teams we faced in Colombia and Croatia were deployed in a one-man midfield. Both games we were dominated in the midfield. I would say I would totally agree with that. Disagree with that. Sorry. The Colombia game. I think there are parallels with the Colombia game, but I think you're overemphasising the wobble against Colombia. People going, look, we had the same problem.
Yeah.
I think the scoreline was the same.
30 seconds away from going
We
for a 90
controlled the
minutes.
majority of the game there, whereas the 60 minutes in Croatia, we wobbled.
I
We
don't
massively
agree. I
wobbled.
don't agree with Mr. Anonymous's appraisal of Harry Kane either.
No, I think.
I think Harry Kane, like, he did rely on his set pieces, but the cruel thing for Harry Kane is you saw it with Lukaku and Hazard in the first game. Hazard said to Lukaku, he said, look, stop hiding up front, come and drop deeper, try and help us. And that's what Harry Kane had to do because the creativity was not coming. So he's like, right, I'm going to need to try and drop deep, try and bring the fullbacks into play.
Really
but then
messes with the shape that though.
Yeah, I know that, but he felt like he had to do it because he wasn't getting enough service. It's all like, it's a system of the problems. And you can see where the issues were, but our set pieces were covering over those cracks. And it's the first tournament of a young team with a new manager. And now we can go into, what is it? I can't remember the next tournament.
Euro 2020.
Euro 2020 with some
The final of that, by the way, and the semi-finals are all at Wembley.
Yeah. FC Mould 99. Should Welbeck have been brought on last night?
Never, no.
What would
For
Welbeck
who?
have
To
changed?
do what instead of who?
I think Welbeck was kind of ignored, just forgotten about a little bit, and I actually think there could have been some use with him. But really, you've got someone like. Basically, with Welbeck, he could have been that central striker, but who still plays on the last man. He's not going to go flying all over the place. He'll be in that central area, and you might be able to play it through him. And if he gets a yard in front, he's strong enough to hold off the guy. And his goal scoring record for England is very good.
And drop Kane.
But no, I'm not saying drop Kane.
or
I think he's
sub-Kane.
saying. So they took off Sterling. They put on Rashford. I think did they put on Vardy in the last? Few
Vardy was on. Yeah.
But then that's the point as well that I would make is that look, these are okay options. Vardy scored a hell of a lot of goals. Last season, so a lot more than Welbeck. Sterling's done a lot of good work, and I thought he was good for the first 45. And Rashford can do some brilliant things as well. Here's my summary of this team, right? If I'm really honest, what I was scared of came to fruition. This team it has potential. How many of those players can become world class? I'm not sure. I think Jordan Pickford has been brilliant. Can he keep it going? Quite possibly. John Stones, can he move forward? I think you saw with the goal, there's still an element of him switching off, which is a shame because he's had a cracking tournament. He's got so many strengths. But we are missing, I think we're 3 players short. if you look at that France team, look at the Belgium team, I looked at those lineups in that semi-final, and it was world-class player, world-class player, world-class player. I think you can win a World Cup with, like this Croatia side could win a World Cup, and they've got two, Rakitic and Modric.
Yeah, they've got two.
In a really key area of the pitch. We are hugely missing that talisman in midfield, and because of that, it was about the team, and that's great when you're winning. But as soon as you're not winning, the problem you've got is Kane's not really playing where he wants to be. He doesn't want to drop deep, but he's doing it for the team. Sterling doesn't really want to be there. He wants to be out wide. Dele Alli really wants to be a bit more central, and all those sacrifices are amazing, and that's why we got this far. But all of those problems go away for me a little bit if you've got a better centre midfielder. We were missing a Modric, and we were missing that guy. And
everyone's missing a Modric.
I know.
He's incredible.
But France have a Pogba, Belgium have a Hazard.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but not many teams have got a Kane.
Well, I get that. But if you can't create chances, you're not going to score goals. And I think ultimately we're three players short.
But our three creates that would mean that the problems that we have for you are what so our our midfield went Henderson, then it went three creative players. It went Lingard, Sterling, Ali, and then Kane. So I would say that those three players that I just mentioned are really creative.
I would say that Dele Alli he's good in those pockets of space, and then he can play a through ball, but he needs to be close to Kane and central. Right. When the way he was playing slightly out wide a lot of the time, and when you're there, you get the ball. That's not enough because you're not close enough goal to just play that 5-yard pass. You need to be able to do something else with the ball, and I don't believe that Dele has that. I don't think he's got those skills. And in terms of our lack of ability to create stuff in open play, it's not on Henderson for me. It's not really. It shouldn't really be on Kane for me. Maybe not even Sterling. It's on Ali and it's on Lingard. Yeah. And Lingard's movement and intelligence is brilliant. But he was at no point was the guy who was like, give me the ball. Dele Alli should have probably been that guy, and I don't think he's got enough in his locker to be that guy either. And that's where we're short.
If Southgate was expecting Lingard to be a playmaker, then he's wrong, because Lingard was never going to be a playmaker in that team. Out of that midfield three, Dele Alli is the most likely to.
I love Lingard.
No, Lingard's a fantastic player.
I find myself giving it all this. I actually love Lingard.
What's the best version of Lingard though? Was the Lingard that you dream that he'll be in 3-4 years' time? Who would
He's
you
older,
compare
Lingard. I didn't realise how old he was.
No, Jesse Lingard.
25 years old.
25.
Yeah.
But Jesse Lingard is a person that you want on that last line of defence, and you get the ball in behind him, and he's fantastic at finding and creating space, and he will be that player that you can do a quick 1-2 with, and he'll then move somewhere else, and then drag the defender away. He's the guy who makes spaces that other people can exploit.
So we need a Lampard or a Gerrard. That's what this team needs.
I really think we. As I say, Modric is you look gasping like if you want a Modric.
So it's the floor Henderson.
For me, it's
someone better than Henderson.
Here.
Not Henderson.
You've got Henderson here, and he needs to play it to someone who's going to unlock the defence. The two players that he generally was playing it to was Lingard and Ali, and sometimes Kane. And Kane's hold-up play is great, but really I want Kane.
Him on the end of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we need that guy. So Henderson can be.
Is there anyone in the league? Is there anyone in the squad?
I think we're
thinking of someone?
I think could Phil Foden be that guy in a few years' time? I don't think I've seen enough of him, but he's been exciting. I think Jadon Sancho, is he going to be someone in the next few years?
There's no one really.
And do you know what? And this is why we're kind of getting to the end now.
Is Sterling not this guy? Are we
not from
a
a central position?
Yeah.
Again, I believe that the brilliance of Hazard, which I've seen in this World Cup and appreciate to a new level, is down to his ability to get the ball in between lines where he's got a guy in front of him and a guy behind him, and have that confidence, awareness and unbelievable control, manipulation of the ball to be able to dribble out of those things. Sterling at no point in this tournament really did that for me. I like his close control, but I don't think he's got that. No. But going back to that question of what would you have taken at the start, and I'm going to read out your comments in a second, so keep getting them in. Like the stream as well.
Go on.
Nice. Go on, do it. I've lost my point now. Where am I going?
In terms of, was it where we wanted to get to?
Sorry. I think at the start of this tournament, everyone was going, this squad is not good enough to do anything. So I think the actual fair analysis of it is they've done so well, they've worked so hard, but really that we weren't wrong before. That squad isn't good enough to get us there yet, but it's better than we thought.
It depends where you think there is.
To win it, we want to win.
There is ultimately winning, but We were.
I would have taken a semi-final there for me before the game. There before the tournament was out of groups. And I think we got there.
Think about how small the margins are here, because we were literally, as far as I'm concerned, Harry Kane scoring that goal, probably away from being in a World Cup final, and then anything can happen. Yeah. And then we wouldn't be having any of these conversations. Yeah. Southgate would be a demigod. There'd be a statue outside Wembley.
And us as football fans, that's always a massive learning of
so close
just believe and see what happens.
And the thing is, against France, I know that France are incredibly gifted, but can you imagine the nightmares that Pavard would have been having at the thought of Sterling running at him? He would have been. I know he scored a brilliant goal and stuff, but he has looked pretty. Yeah. Sterling would have crucified him. If you go 1-0 up against them, it would be very interesting. It could have been so different.
That's why I'm just really filled with optimism, because it was so close to being so perfect. It wasn't like it was in 2014 when it was just so far away that you struggled to get any positives from it. 2016
when we were dumped out by Iceland.
Or 2010. Gerrard scored after 4 minutes in 2010. Oh, it's coming home. It's like, no, it's not. We're going to draw against Algeria.
What's really exciting is the analysis changes from going, can we just get out of the group and beat somebody, to it's gone to this level where we're going, why have we not won the World Cup?
Exactly.
That's great.
What a wonderful question to be asking.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Let's see what you guys think. Well, we're talking about what England are missing. Let us know in the comments below. Paul Lucas said there's only one Lamps. Alex Webster saying need a Skulls. That's what I'm after. I need a Skulls, if that's all right. G Bath saying Wilshere. Yep, I think we said that long ago.
Wilshere,
Lallana. A lot of people talking about Lallana. Chamberlain we were missing out on. There's two players that could have made a big difference for us. James Maddison, I think he's a way off, but look, he's got potential. Mr. ASG saying Chamberlain again. Keen Dreamstar says we're too far away. Glyn Pansky, at least our goalie was decent. I think a lot of comments in here today.
I love that man so much.
That save.
I love that save.
The bravery of that save.
My God. I just love him. I love everything about him. I love his aggression. I love his face. I just think he's an incredible man. I love his swearing as well. I love the way I saw you could lip read him swearing in such a northern accent. Shut the fuck up.
Amazing.
People talking about Lookman. I like it. He's a good chav.
Who's saying that? Doran's Lie saying Lookman could be an option. Foden as well. A few people saying that as well. Right, final one, guys. Get in the comments right now. Player of the tournament for England. Who is your player of the tournament for England? And like the stream whilst you're there. Subscribe to Ball Street if you're new for watching for the first time.
One answer. Easy. There's no debate. Yeah, it's Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire. Okay.
It's Harry Maguire.
I think there is a debate.
It's Harry Maguire. The Baresi of the modern game.
God, Baresi and Beckenbauer, I love it.
Well, I thought it was Maldini last time, wasn't it?
Stones and Beckenbauer.
The Baresi of the modern game, Harry Maguire.
I love that.
Harry Maguire had a phenomenal tournament, but you could say Kieran Trippier as well. They're two players that I really didn't expect to love at any point in my life. Yeah. And now I love both of them.
I know, I agree completely.
Nice. You'll hate them in a few months' time.
I won't.
Oh, yeah.
I won't.
No?
No.
I love that.
I won't.
I'll
remember this World Cup will be with me forever. I've loved every minute of it, and I love the 23 Lions that went with England. I will love all of them forever.
Lovely. Even Phil Jones?
All of them. Every single one. If you remember that team, it's like if you remember the 2012 when Chelsea won the Champions League. If you were on that pitch, I love you forever. Okay. In that squad, I love you forever.
Can we finish on a note on Gareth Southgate though? Because
can I do my player first?
No.
But surely he's just
mine, do you know what mine is? I think who would he be? Mine would be the. God, I don't know. I can't think of who it would be. But mine would be. I think it was a real moment and tournament. I know he struggled a little bit maybe yesterday. But Jordan Henderson has stepped up, and people will now look back on his England career and his career as a whole, and show that you can come back from real difficulties and he's shown unbelievable mental strength. For me, he's really been the captain of this team, and he's been superb. So I would say Jordan.
It's an incredible career as well, because he was released by Darlington and madness like that.
Was it?
I think so. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and suddenly.
Southgate. Let's last word on Southgate. Go on, Sam.
I love Gareth Southgate. I've said that about Trippier, I've said that about Maguire, but for the first time as an England fan, I know what direction we're heading in. For the next 2 years, I'm not just going to be sitting there going, who's going to be our manager? Oh, here comes another qualifier. I know the system, I know the manager, I know how the players play in the system, and I can see the weaknesses, but the weaknesses, you can solve those in 2 years. The problems are small now, the problems are minor. We just got to a semi-final, and as I said, I think that Harry Kane goal was the changer. Had that happened, we might be in a final. So we've got small issues to fix and a long time to do it, rather than England are terrible, what is going to happen? Yeah. And that's a really nice position to be in, and that for me is what I'm taking away from this tournament more than anything.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I could lionise around Gareth Southgate all day long. I think he's an incredible manager. I think he's come into a team that was at such a low ebb, and he's completely galvanised it, and he has brought football home. And that is true. You know, like people were messaging me, these morons on Twitter were messaging me going, it's not coming home. Like, you don't get it, mate. It did come home. You just don't understand because you're an idiot in your bedroom.
Totally. Love that. I think he's done well. I actually think any kind of criticism you want to put towards him, I think it's actually the limitations of the squad, not the limitations of him. I think the arsenal that he had, I think he tried to get the best out of it. Football's not black and white. There's so many little moments that can make it work out for you or make it not work out for you. And I think the way that he's carried himself, he's
a gentleman, isn't
it's he? Made, it's brought back decency, which is nice. Yeah. Like, people want to actually behave and be like, a decent fucking person.
He's inspired patriotism in England at a time when it's not that easy, and all of a sudden everybody's completely united behind this England side, and I'm so excited about what the future holds with him at the helm.
Looking at the comments, it seems like you think Trippier probably is the main one. Pickford as well, getting a lot of shouts, so I think either of those is fine. For me, I think the final thing I'm going to say on this is that the chat that I had to have 6-7 months ago about England, for us to have gone through these few weeks, sometimes there's only going to be one team that's going to win the World Cup.
Exactly.
There's only two that are going to make the World Cup final. For us and the ideas of this squad before the tournament started, what did we want? We wanted to feel it again. We wanted hope. We wanted progression. And they've thrown one in. They've given people of our generation a new identity of what being an England fan is. Being an England fan, you can have a sense of humour and you can care about it, and it's okay to care about it, and it's okay to say it's coming home and all those things. And now we, like all the other countries, can enjoy it again.
And if you think about the moments that we've had in this World Cup, we've had a last-minute winner against Tunisia. We've had England scoring 6 in a World Cup game.
We won a penalty shootout.
We've had a penalty shootout victory. We've had Kieran Trippier's goal. We've had that cruise of a win against Sweden. There have been
we've had the Harry Maguire memes. That's been brilliant.
There's loads of reasons to look back on this.
It's been one of the best months of my life.
Yeah, mate.
I've loved it. I even love going to Russia.
Yeah, we even enjoyed that.
We even went the whole way there. Yeah. We were part of it.
Right, guys, thank you.
Thank you. I loved it.
I feel better for watching it. If you feel better for watching that and you've had that kind of that therapy with us, then put a like on this video, subscribe to Ball Street. Let us know your thoughts on England and this whole World Cup journey. I think it's been class. I'm sure you probably do as well. And who are the players that are going to take us to the next level? Let us know in the comments below. We'll see you very, very soon. Goodbye.